What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode one of the Justyn Mutts Show. Today, I'm very lucky and extremely blessed to have a coaching legend who is still adding on to his resume. We got Coach Mike Jones here. Coach, I was looking over some of your resume from before your time at Tech. I know you coached 19 years with DeMatha. You had the opportunity to coach with Team USA. I know you 16. I know you guys went and won a gold medal. But aside from that, I know your coaching career was also really impressive as well. Your playing career, I know you played at ODU for a few years before going on to play professionally overseas and stuff like that. I'm just really grateful to have you on. How you feel?
I feel great, man. I appreciate it. It's an honor, man. I'm enjoying watching you grow as a young man, and you're using your platform to really promote your brand and who you are as a young person. So I'm happy to be a part of this, man.
For sure. I feel like now's the time to do it. You know what I mean? I feel like while we're kind of at like the peak of it in a way, I feel like now's the best time to kind of make the most out of it, not only for myself but for you as well.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question before we get started. What was your intent? Do you plan on moving on to being a head coach at some point, or are you trying to grow right now, learn as much as you can?
I definitely am a be where my feet are kind of guy.
For sure.
So I am all about learning as much as I possibly can from
Yeah.
all the people that I'm with right now. Obviously, Coach Young being the main person that
Yeah.
um, I think we all feel blessed to be around and be in his presence. But um, I joke with people all the time, like you don't know what you don't know. Being a head coach for such a long time and running my own program my own way and being successful doing it, like I never knew what I didn't know. And being able to get with Coach Young and Coach Webby and Coach Gildner and all of you guys, I've learned so much in the last year. I would say what I've learned in the last 18 months is equivalent to what I learned over 19 years as a head coach. So
Yeah.
it's been amazing.
I have a lot of conversations with our younger guys. I talk to Darren, talk to Rodney, and stuff like that, just about how much different the college game is compared to playing in high school. What would you say is like one of the biggest, not just one, but what are some of the biggest differences between high school basketball and college basketball that guys have to get attuned to?
I think the speed of the game is, I think, first and foremost. You guys that are so good at the high school level get to the college level and they're no longer the biggest, strongest, fastest guy.
Yeah,
And learning how to take your skill set and have it be able to be productive within the college basketball game, I think is something that every freshman, no matter what level you're at, everybody goes through that.
yeah,
I think the strength of everybody.
mhm,
The college basketball is a very physical game, and you can see guys and you're seeing guys play and they get bumped a little bit and maybe get knocked off balance and they kind of look at the referee and hey, this is no longer is that a foul? Like that's part of the game, and
yeah,
you're just seeing how guys respond to that. From the coach's side, the preparation that goes into it, the details, and again, I acknowledge that I'm very blessed to be with Coach Young because there's a lot of little things that are a part of the game of basketball that he pays attention to that
yeah,
so many others do not.
mhm,
And I think that's a tremendous advantage for him as a head coach. And then obviously, all the us that get to learn from him, like just angles and, hey, I'm going to screen you and I want you to go over the screen, not under the screen.
right,
What that does in terms of guys being able to close out on shooters or guard somebody flashing into the post, it's pretty special stuff.
yeah. Well, for you coming from a powerhouse, in DeMatha to now going on to the next level, do you feel as though you guys had some of the same resources that kind of prepared you to be here? Like earlier, you mentioned, guys aren't strong enough to, really be able to make an impact right away. Do you feel like coming from a big program like DeMatha, where you guys are competing every single year on a national level, kind of prepared you to be able to do what you're doing now?
Yeah, I think I came in with definitely a mindset that I don't have anything to compare it to, but I mean, my expectation has always been like, I don't care what the circumstances are, like, we're supposed to be playing for a championship.
Yeah,
So I remember last year talking to everybody, and, we're talking about the Final Four and things like that. And I'm like, all right, so, like, I mean, we're planning on being in the Final Four, like, not, hey, we're going to go visit the Final Four. So
yeah,
just stuff like that. Like, just, I think my mentality and the success that I have been blessed enough to have over my career. Um, I don't ever want to not be like that. I want to always believe that whatever team that I'm working with is capable of being there when it's all said and done.
for sure.
And with guys like you guys, man, y'all are amazing. Y'all work so hard. Y'all are so dedicated. You're so smart. The skill level of each and every one. I mean, you're one of the most skilled players I've ever been around because you can do everything on the court. Um, I don't think we should have any other mentality. Like you
Yeah.
guys are good enough. Like you guys are good enough, and you're working to get better. So, and again, having someone like Coach Young leading us is our expectations should be the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing from that I'm taking away is just being confident, never letting that waver. You know what I mean? I feel like once your confidence as a player and as a team starts to waver, your season's over. Like
Hmm.
if you don't believe in yourself, it's completely over. I think that's one of the biggest things about our team last year. Even in going 0-4, 2-7, and everybody bashing us, it was like everybody turned on us. Everybody turned on us, but we constantly believed in ourselves. You know what I mean? I feel like that was the main thing that got us through the finish line. Do you feel as
Yeah,
though do you feel as though that is something that we have this year from your perspective? What's your
I do.
perspective? Yeah,
I do, and I don't want to just gloss over last year. I mean, that what you just said is exactly right. Like
yeah,
that's special, man. Like I think I said this to you guys at some point. There's so many other teams that going 0-4 and 2-7 and losing that seventh game on the last second shot. Like you just start to feel like like this isn't our year, or it's just not going to happen. And guys start splintering off. Like you guys are all very talented, so you'll have guys that have aspirations to do some individual things that now becomes way more important than the team because things aren't going the way we all wanted them to go.
yeah,
And I mean, honestly, the leaders on the team as players, you and Hunter and Kebe and Storm last year. But then again, I keep coming back to Coach Young. Coach Young would not allow you guys to start to splinter off. Like
yeah,
I remember him coming into the film room, kept saying, guys, we're this close, we're this close. And to have a leader that can tell a team that is one thing, but then to have that team believe it so that they stick with it is another thing. And again, I think that's the elite, that's Hokie basketball, that's
yeah.
Mike Young, that's what you guys have created here.
Yeah. I think you just touched on one of the most important parts of it too. Something I keep in back of my mind too. Like we all got goals. Everybody has that goal of what I want to happen next. Of course, I want to play at the highest level. I want to make all that happen. But if I'm going on every single game, and that's the only thing I'm thinking about, I can't make plays for other people. I can't beat myself. I'm not going to be willing to only, for my stat line to not be what I want it to be, just
Hmm.
because my goals are so much higher. But I
Hmm.
feel like the main thing about it right now is just being a winning player, being a winning team.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at a losing team. Nobody cares about a loser, no matter how good
Well,
your stats are and all that. So I think that's
Justin, I can tell you this, man. I get to, because of the guys that I've coached in the past, I get to speak to NBA executives and front office people like periodically throughout the year, every single year. And the questions that they ask about guys that I've coached, the questions that they ask about just people that I know of and that I can give them some insight as to what makes their players tick. And it always comes down to whether or not a guy is a winner.
yeah,
And is he a winner? And you can look at guys that in the past have been uh, not even double figure scorers in college. And the fact that they were not double figure scores, but they're still lottery picks and first round draft picks. Like it's such an important piece to know that, hey, this young man knows how to win.
mm-hmm.
This guy knows how to win. And
Yeah,
that's something that I can average 20 points and not know how to win. And
exactly.
I'm not as valuable to an
Yeah,
NBA franchise.
for
I'm not
sure.
as valuable to the success of a college program. So
Yeah,
that is so impressive.
yeah. As of lately, I know an NBA guy that I look up to a lot, who I kind of admire his game in a way, is PJ Tucker, and he's been receiving a lot of negative feedback over the past couple of games. I think it's like the last 4 games, he hasn't scored the ball, but his plus minus is over 40, and that's something that a lot of guys can't get in a core series of 10 games. So for
Hmm.
him to be able to just be such a big factor on a team, whether he's scoring or not, is something that's so overlooked. And I think that's a big issue too. So many college fans or basketball fans only know how to judge the game based on the stat sheet, and I feel like that's a huge mistake, and it just takes
Hmm.
away from so much of the game. The game is beautiful, if it's played the right way, but I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of guys don't know how to play the game the right way. What do you feel like you were able to kind of mentor or coach guys back in high school at the high school level about how to play the game the right way?
So I think the biggest thing is this: you talk to someone from the NBA, and just I remember we're on a USA Zoom maybe 2 years ago, and we're having an assistant coach from the Los Angeles Lakers on the call with us, and we have an assistant coach from the Dallas Mavericks, who is now the head coach of the Orlando Magic. Both of those coaches were on a Zoom call with all the USA national team members, and basically they were talking about the encouragement of young men to play on teams with other really good players and to learn how to play without having the ball in your hands.
Right.
And the point was this: if I get drafted by the Dallas Mavericks, if Justyn Mutts gets drafted by the Dallas Mavericks
Yeah.
next year, 90% of the time that Justin's on the floor, Luka Doncic is going to have the ball.
Yeah.
So if Justyn is only effective when he has the ball in his hands, but he goes to play for a team that has Luka on it, like, what is Justyn going to do? What value does he bring? But
Exactly.
I can go get another young man who is able to be effective without the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
He can play with Luka. And the guy, Miles Simon, assistant coach with the Los Angeles Lakers, said the same thing about LeBron. If you're going to the LA Lakers, LeBron is going to have the ball. Anthony Davis is going to have the ball. And if you look at the NBA, every team has somebody like that.
Yeah.
So they're looking for people who do not have to have the ball in their hands for them to be able to contribute to winning. They do not have to shoot every time in order for them to affect winning. There are guys that are going to get drafted that are going to go on to average 29, 28 points a game. And like, that is so rare. Everybody's looking to fill their roster with pieces.
Yeah.
And can you play a role? We hear be a star in your role. Well, that is such a true thing to winning. And that is what I found. Like, with all the guys that I've ever coached, it's like, hey, I'm going to have you on my team, but I'm also going to surround you with other guys that they need to touch the ball too.
For sure.
And I think that's been so effective in my career and the guys that I've coached being able to go on to the next level.
Well, over the summer, I guess you could say preseason, we had I don't want to give too much detail just in case it's, get him in trouble or anything, but we had an NBA guy come in and talk to our team a little bit.
Yeah.
He told us, we got option 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're coming to our team, you're not any of those options. You got to be willing and ready to come in and not get shots, but still be super effective. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Play defense, get a rebound. Can you set the best screen ever to get this great shooter open?
Yeah.
Especially now, it's really important. But at the next level, it's even more important. Just that split second. We got guys like Hunter Couture and Darius Maddox who can get the ball off and 0.2 seconds the ball it's out of their hands for a great shot. At the next level, it's 0.1 seconds the ball's in their hands. And then it's in the air. You know what I mean? So I think just being able to play with great players, understand your personnel, and then do what you can do to help them be the best player they can be as well.
Yeah, like, think about it. If we were running one of our sets and it called for you to do a dribble handoff with Couture and we really needed that shot, but you had this attitude of, well, shoot, the shot's not for me, so why do I even care? So you don't set your screen right, or you don't get in his man's way right, so now Hunter can't get that shot off. Well, it's Hunter's shot, so it's his fault. Well, no, like, that's our fault. Like, we need every person on the team to do their part in every single action we have, because every part is equally as important as the other.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess kind of not really switching topics, but for you now, this is year 2. So coming into college basketball, what's your mindset like in thinking, these guys don't really know me? What's your mindset like in going into a new atmosphere and then having to essentially gain new respect within new players who you don't know them and they don't know you as well? What's your mindset like in that kind of space?
I think the biggest thing for me was just be myself, but then also understand that that's something I have to earn. Like, I can't come in here and, quote unquote, throw my resume on the table and be like, hey, y'all should listen to what I have to say. I have to earn it. And I still feel like I'm trying to earn that every single day. I might mess up, but, hey, we're going to do this in the ball screen coverage against this team. It might not be the right thing. And like, shoot, now I got to work to gain that trust back. Like, but I literally live every single day like that. When I'm saying something to somebody, when I'm saying something to you in practice, like, I want to pour into you guys. I want to give you guys as much confidence and encouragement as possible. Being the assistant coach and not the head coach, there's a different role there. Like, I'm not the one that's always going to be, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. I want to be able to lift you guys up, because I know that there's somebody else whose job it is to, correct you and get you in the straight and narrow. So I just want to fit in. I want to do what I'm supposed to do. I want to be as prepared as I possibly can, which I'm really trying to do. And but I think my biggest thing is just coming in and trying to earn you guys' respect. Justyn, you played for so many coaches and so many programs throughout your life.
Yeah.
Like I don't want you to be like, oh man, he don't know what he's doing. I want you to feel like, he's working as hard as he can to give everything he can to this, and that's why I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So
I think that's why I'm so grateful to be a part of this, environment, this culture. I think our coaching staff is just so. I think our coaching staff, one, has great basketball minds, each individual. But then outside of that, I think our culture is so amazing because our players and our coaches have such a good relationship. There is no there's no disconnect. Today, I'm thinking after practice, we're just in the locker room, everybody's eating wings, and we're just in there just having regular conversation, not even about basketball. We're just in there laughing and joking just because like at the end of the day, it's like we're friends. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like y'all know who I am outside of
yeah,
basketball. You know who you are. And I feel like that's so important, and because it's essentially a family. We
yeah.
together every day for about a year.
Well,
That one team, this one program is about together for like about 1 year.
yeah,
And I mean, I see you guys every day. We're about to have Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow, so I
yeah,
mean, like at the end of the day, it's about those relationships and those connections that you're going to develop with the people you're around. You know what I mean?
yeah. One of the coolest things. My first day on the job was a Sunday last May, and that Sunday I came in with Coach Young, went to my office, put everything in my office. That Wednesday, um, I'm sitting in my office and I hear the balls bouncing, and I go out and look over the balcony, and the coaching staff and trainers and everybody, they're playing pickup 5-on-5.
Yeah.
And I look on the sideline, and this is in the middle of the summer. You guys, it's in May, so you guys could be doing anything. You're a college student athlete, and there's like 7 guys with their lunch heckling the coaches as they're
Yeah.
playing. Where
Yeah.
you could have been doing anything. You could have been
Hmm.
at your apartment. You could have been hanging out with, your friends, or you could have been with your girlfriend, or whatever it is. And you guys chose to like literally sit on the sideline, and that struck me as what our family environment is like. Like you
Yeah.
guys could be anywhere you wanted to be. Nobody told you you had to be there, and you guys chose to have lunch while you got to, basically mess with your coaches a little bit. And
Yeah. I
that
mean,
was the coolest thing. That was the
yeah.
coolest thing.
I mean, stuff like that is just fun. You get to see what everybody got. I get to see
Yeah.
that. I get to see that web. I get to see that Webb got a little bag. KG can shoot it a little bit. I get to see
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
to speed up his glory days just a little bit. He's not moving the same way he used to, but he can do a little something. And
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
just
sir.
the stuff like that just makes it so fun. And not every environment like that. Not every
Yep.
environment I've been is like that. It's a lot different. It makes it you don't always want to go to the gym. It makes it not as desirable to be in that space
Yeah.
with these people. Some teams have environments where even in the locker room, it's toxic. There's like
Hmm.
there's if maybe it's just one individual who just so happens to be a cancer to the team,
Yeah.
and he's causing all this disruption within the program. And I just feel like we don't have that. Last year we didn't
Yeah.
have that. Year before that we didn't have that. And this year I feel like we are as connected as we've ever been. In the locker room, and I just feel like stuff like that comes to show on the court. When I'm trying to see my teammate just succeed so well. I'm so fine with having 2 points if it means that my teammate's going off right now. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for him, even happier than I'd be for myself. And
Yeah.
within a lot of environments, if you got even one or two players that have the opposite mindset, it throws everything off. You
Yeah.
can't win like that. So
Yeah. And I,
have you been a part of teams that have had people or individuals that were like that?
yeah, and I think one of the coolest things for me, and I would say one of the kind of cool dynamics of me joining, Hokie Nation is for all of those years I got to go on visits with guys. If I called a coach and said, "Hey, do you mind if I come to your practice?" Like no one told me no. I had, as much access as anyone could have to any program, like anywhere really, and to watch the dynamic that we have and to compare it to all the, you know, you spend 2 days watching this team practice, or you go on a college visit with this player of yours, and you get to see how the guys interact with one another. And I can honestly say, with knowledge of it, that our dynamic is so unique. And then to go back to my playing days and go back to some of the teams I've coached and to watch, the cliques develop and how that could possibly break down the camaraderie of a team. Um, it's like I do feel like I keep using the word blessed. I feel so blessed
Yeah,
to be a part of this because I know what it could be.
for sure.
And this is nothing like it. And I'm honestly, it makes it so much easier for us to, we spend way too much time together if we don't get along. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
Like, and if we didn't like each other, it would really be something where, like, you're looking and it's just like, like, Coach Young talks about it all the time. He doesn't want you guys to show up at Hurst to practice. And when you kind of get the nostalgic feeling of walking in the door, it's like, oh man, I got to be here today. It's like, we have great energy. We have great, kind of a great vibe about us. And as long as we have that, man, we're going to have a chance.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, I think it goes down to having a great person at the top. I think Coach Young, outside of basketball and him just being a genius basketball wise, I think he's just an amazing person. And I think he just knows how to bring good people together. He's not recruiting like bad people. He's not recruiting problem kids. He's recruiting people that know how to buy in, that are willing and able to give up parts of their ego for what's best for the team. I tip my hat off to Darren Buchanan, coming from an area where he's the star, the Gatorade Player of the Year, to be willing to come and be a part of a team where now, he's redshirt and he's learning so much. I think that just goes to his character, just him being a good person and just being willing to, buy into what we got going on. I think when the time comes for him to step on the floor, I think he's ready now, but I think he'll be even more ready having had the opportunity to work with, myself, I'm gonna say Kevin, but Grant, Malijah, Lynn, all these guys every single day, working with the wings, just being able to expand his game so much. I think when he steps on the court, he's gonna surprise a lot of people. Not that he wasn't ready to do it now, you know what I mean? Just like that's why I think it's so crazy about it.
But the biggest thing with that, Justin, is exactly what you just said. Like, how many guys get a chance to spend an entire season learning from you? Like, watching what you do, as successful as you are on and off the court, watching how you carry yourself, watch how you represent, not just Justyn Mutts, but the Mutts family, and then Hokie Nation, like how you exist within the dynamic of college basketball. And for someone like Darren, who's got a tremendous amount of talent,
Yeah.
he's learning so much. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right, when it's his time, when he gets an opportunity, oh my gosh. But like, he could have been somewhere else and not had a Justyn Mutts to kind of mentor him, and like stuff that he is learning now, he wouldn't learn until way down the road. And it's,
Yeah.
I mean, again, he is truly blessed to be playing for Mike Young, but also to have guys like you that he can learn a great amount from every single day.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from the trust that he had for you. You were the one that recruited him, right? You
Yep,
you got,
yep,
you got him and Rodney Rice, right?
yep, yep.
Yeah, I think that's just the trust that he has for you. I think of just a personal opinion. I think that DMV area has some of the most talent out of any area in the country right now. I think there's so many talented basketball players, but just all around athletes coming from that area and day in and day out every single year. And I think for you to come now, that pipeline is wide open for us to be able to recruit all those great players. Now for them to come to a program, to Virginia Tech basketball, which is now growing so much over the past 3-4 years. It's not what it used to be. Now people are actually starting to respect Virginia Tech, as
Yep.
they should. But before, it wasn't like that. I feel like, especially after last year winning the ACC championship, I feel like we're finally starting to get the respect that we deserve.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that is, like, again, me understanding what my job is. My job, like now, there's a lot of young men, young basketball players in the DMV that would not have known Mike Young.
Yeah.
Like, they okay, Mike Young is the head coach of Virginia Tech. But now my job is to get all of them to realize what they possibly could be for playing for Mike Young. And I don't think you could play for a better coach.
Yeah.
I don't think you
Yeah.
could play for a better human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's going to hold you accountable. He's not going to baby you, but he is going to get the best out of you. If it's in there, if it's in you, he's going to get it out of you. And it's my job to get them to realize that.
Yeah.
So they're not coming to play for me. They're coming to play for Coach Young.
Yeah.
And my job is to get them to the front door. And Coach Young is like, I don't think you could play for a better coach in college basketball. So, and I'm going to keep trying to do that. I'm going to try to get as many of those guys, because you're right. There's so much talent in that area.
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers we get a couple more commitments here in the next, few months, because, Hokie Nation and Hokie basketball is definitely on the rise.
Yeah. So your official title is associate head coach, right?
Yes.
So what would you say is your favorite and least favorite part of this position that you're in now?
So that's a loaded question, Justin. My favorite part is, and again, I'm not just saying this. Like literally, like if you saw, I have a notebook right here. All right, this notebook I write in every single day when I get home. If you go to actually, I got it right here. If you go to my office in excuse me, in Hahn-Hurst, I have another notebook that I keep with me. Like I literally, after every practice and when I get home every day, I write in that book what I learned and or what's different or hey, how did coach teach this? I write in those books every single day, bar none. I basically have gotten to the point where I've disciplined myself to make sure I do that
Yeah,
because I am learning so much. So the favorite thing that I have is I get to learn every day. And it's not just Coach Young. I get to learn from Coach KG. I get to learn from Coach Webb. I get to learn from Ace and Matt and Ryan Nadeau. Like, watching Nadeau put guys through workouts and seeing things that he does that are a little bit different than the things that I did when I do my workouts. Like, just trying to learn as much as I possibly can. So I would say that's the most favorite thing. The least favorite is, I mean, I'll be honest, like just not being in charge.
yeah,
Like, I mean, that's like I was in charge for such a long time,
for sure.
and not having like that 12 inches to the left or the right on the bench is like a few miles, like really. Like
Yeah.
my job now is to make suggestions,
Hmm.
and not make decisions. Coach Young makes the decision. We suggest things, he decides things, and that is probably the least favorite part. But I also understand that I am trying to do the best job I can with what my role is, my job is. So I can give Coach Young 50 different suggestions and he shoot them all down. I'm going to be right there the next day with 51,
For sure.
because that is my job. And if none of them ever stick, at least it got, our brains working and we know what we're not going to do. And if, by gosh, one of them does stick and it helps us win, then again, I just did what I was supposed to do. And that's what you guys deserve, and that's what Coach Young deserves.
Yeah, I think your input has been so well respected and so well received, not only from the coaching staff but from the players as well. And I think, like you said, not being the person in charge, I think that kind of leads into your favorite part as well, just being able to learn from
Yeah,
not being that person taking control. I think that's power right there. I think that's beautiful. It's just the course of life. There's a course of steady growth. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
think that's awesome. I learn every single day just from being around you guys. I don't know, some of the things Coach Young will point out to all of us. I never looked at basketball like that.
yeah,
I never thought about doing that like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah,
and it makes all the difference. That's the difference between 2 points and a contested shot that we didn't really want to get.
yeah,
And
yeah.
all that stuff really matters. For sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's incredible, man. It is incredible.
I guess I'll close it off with a last question to you. If you could, outside of basketball, just as a man, what's a personal goal for you just in the course of steady moving forward?
Oh man, great question. And I think this is something I think about every morning. I want to be a better father to my daughter.
Yeah.
Basketball, as privileged as I've been to be able to be a part of this game for such a long time, um, it takes you away from your family a
Yeah.
lot. Like, the hours you put in, and that's not a complaint. And I plan to keep on putting as much time as I possibly can into being the best coach I can possibly be. But also want to make sure that my family knows how much that I appreciate them sacrificing what they do to allow me to do this. As a man, as a black man that's, you know, got many goals in my life, the one thing I want to make sure I do going forward, the faith-filled person that I am,
Yeah.
is to be the best father I possibly can for my daughter.
That's beautiful. I think, especially within not gonna say that, but I think a lot of men don't make that effort or don't have that desire to be that. So for that, I completely commend you. And you got as much time as you need to work on that for sure. And Coach, I really appreciate you for being here, for hopping on the call with me today. This was amazing. First podcast, everybody.
Yes,
But
sir.
this was really awesome, Coach. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. But I appreciate you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, sir.
That was game.